Hello all. Once again we are here back with another system, that is a central nervous system. Uh, in this session I'm just giving you a brief outline about the uh, neurotransmitters which are present in a CNS. The brain is basically a supercomputer operating through a various chemical neurotransmission. These mainly concerned with everything happening in the body, right from specialized function like circulation, digestion, respiration, up to a modulation of psychic responses. Just a introduction. CNS have a numerous wires and connection in the form of neurons and the synapses, which brings in information from both internal and external sources. This information is received, then it is decoded, and decisions are made by various centers in CNS, and then instructions are sent to a various peripheral tissue to produce a response, such as responses like psychic response, change in emotions, thought, and attitude. There is a somatic response like type of body movement, or there is an autonomic response like change in circulation, respiration, and visceral function. Mm, Brief outline about the anatomical division of CNS. This is a cortex, cerebellum, basal ganglia, brainstem, and this is a spinal cord. When we are saying that functionally brain consists of billions of neurons which are organized to form a several neuronal system, and that is mainly concerned with specialized functions. It may be a psychic, it may be a somatic, or it may be a autonomic. Regarding the neurochemical transmission in the CNS, communication within the nervous system is through chemical messengers. There are three processes developed in connection with impulse transmission within a nervous system. One of them is neurotransmission. It is a process by which an impulse is transmitted across a synapse between neurons. Neurotransmitters are released and either stimulate or inhibit the postsynaptic neuron. Second one is neuromediation. It elicits the postsynaptic responses to the released neurotransmitter through the generation of second messengers like cyclic AMP, cyclic GMP, IP3, DAG, etc. And the third one is neuromodulation. It is a process agar at pre as well as a postsynaptic level to regulate the release of neurotransmitter, as well as it also modulate the post-synaptic excitability or induce a long-term change by affecting a gene transcription. So it is not just like to release neurotransmitter and which can produce a response, but all these three processes were taken place for to generate a long-term response in a central nervous system, and that is achieved by various neurotransmitters. So, CNS neurotransmitter, most of the drugs which affect the central nervous system act by altering some step in a neurotransmitter and mediate the physiological and pathological responses. Neurotransmitter include acetylcholine, noradrenaline, dopamine, serotonin, GABA and glycine both are inhibitory neurotransmitter, and glutamate, which is a excitatory neurotransmitter. So we just go through some basic aspects of each CNS neurotransmitter. First one is acetylcholine. Acetylcholine is widely distributed in the brain. Cholinergic neurons in the forebrain as well as in a brainstem send a projection to a many part of the brain. First one, cholinergic neurons in a forebrain form a nucleus basalis, which project to a cortex, and it generate a various function. Degeneration, when we can say that the function of this projection is mainly associated with the cognitive function. Degeneration of this neurons in this pathway may leads to Alzheimer's disease, and that is why for the treatment of Alzheimer's disease, centrally acting anticholinergic acids like tacrine are used to improve a cognitive deficiency which which is related to Alzheimer's disease. Another projection is septohippocampal nucleus, which can project this way through a hippocampus, and it is mainly involved in a function. Main function of this pathway is memory. And another interneuron in a is from corpus striatum is mainly important, which can branch project towards a thalamus and striatum, which is mainly involved in somatic responses, mainly involved in case of Parkinson's disease, when there is a overactivity of this neuron that may leads to a Parkinson condition. For that, centrally acting anticholinergic drugs are useful for the management of Parkinson's disease. So, in short, we can say that acetylcholine can modulate arousal, respiration, motor activity, and memory. Is norepinephrine. The main cluster for norepinephrine is a locus coeruleus. Locus coeruleus involved, it can project throughout the brain. Various ascending as well as the descending pathway are generated, and locus coeruleus is mainly involved in control, mainly involved in a behavioral arousal. When we can say that behavioral arousal, specifically any unfamiliar wake up stimuli can excite this neuron than the any familiar excitation. So this is just like in case of frightened situation, which is an unfamiliar wake up stimuli. So this neuron are stimulated, and it can produce a behavioral arousal uh, effect. And when we can see that amphetamine like drug, when it is administered, the main function of amphetamine like drug is to release catecholamine in the brain, and that catecholamine may leads to wakefulness and alertness like action. Another ascending fibers project to a hypothalamus, as well as it can project to a cerebellum cortex. So there are various projection of norepinephrine are there, ascending projection, and which are also involved in various other functions, as well as descending fiber. These are the descending fiber project towards a spinal cord, and uh, which mainly responsible to increase sympathetic discharge at a peripheral level. So in short, we can say that norepinephrine can modulate affective disorder, mainly some behavioral abnormality, as well as it is also involved in a learning memory, arousal, and some pain perception. Third one is dopamine. It is an important neurotransmitter of CNS, and it has a three main pathway. First one is this is a uh, this is a mesolimbic or mesocortical pathway. This is the main pathway, first pathway. This pathway running from group of cells in the midbrain to a part of limbic system, especially the towards a nucleus accumbens, as well as it can also run through a cortex. They are mainly involved, this pathway is mainly involved in functions involved is emotions. Dopamine in this pathway has been uh, implicated as a possible cause of schizophrenia. Second pathway is the nigrostriatal pathway. This pathway, it is important basically for a motor activity. Dopamine deficiency due to degeneration of substantia nigra. Suppose these neurons are degenerated, is the major cause of symptoms in Parkinson's disease. So dopamine deficiency is there, as well as there is an increase in a cholinergic activity. So for the treatment of Parkinson's disease, we can use a dopamine agonist or we can use a centrally acting anticholinergic drugs. And third pathway is this is a turbohypophyseal pathway. This is mainly running from hypothalamus towards a pituitary gland, and where it can regulate pituitary secretion. So this pathway mainly regulate the pituitary secretion. When we can say dopamine is the main neurotransmitter, so the dopamine act as a prolactin inhibiting factor. So in this pathway, when we can say that its inhibition can causes a release of prolactin. So this is the uh, what we can say that the release of prolactin can also be suppressed in presence of dopamine. So these are the three major pathways through which dopamine project at a different area, and it is mainly concerned with when you can see that there is overactivity of dopamine, it may leads to development of schizophrenia, or if there is a loss of dopamine level, it may leads to development of Parkinson's disease. One is 5-HT, 5-hydroxytryptamine. 5-HT neurons are concentrated in a midline Raphe nuclei. This is a Raphe nuclei and projecting to the cortex towards a limbic system, hypothalamus, as well as it project to spinal cord and cerebellum. So it almost distributed throughout the many parts of brain, and it involved in a many functions of brain, functions which are associated with the 5-HT, like various behavioral responses, feeding behavior, control of mood, emotion and wakefulness, control of body temperature and vomiting. So you can see that various multiple functions are associated with the 5-HT. So we can say that in short, 5-HT basically having a role in schizophrenia, depression, temperature regulation, and in case of eating disorder. Now comes to a inhibitory neurotransmitter in a CNS, that is a GABA, gamma aminobutyric acid. GABA is a major inhibitory neurotransmitter in a CNS where it is synthesized from a glutamate. This is a glutamate through which GABA is synthesized with the help of glutamate decarboxylase enzyme, and then GABA is further metabolized to succinate with the help of GABA transaminase enzyme. GABA produces action through its own receptor, GABA receptor. They are of two types: inotropic receptor GABA A and metabotropic receptor GABA B. GABA A receptor, this receptor are located post-synaptically and they are linked with the chloride ion channel. This chloride ion channel opening may leads to hyperpolarization and that leads to reduction in our membrane excitability. So we can see that inhibitory effect is associated when the GABA bind with a specific receptor, GABA A receptor. There is an opening of chloride channel, and hyperpolarization of that leads to reduction in a membrane excitability. GABA receptor, they are of pentameric inner structure. They are assembled through 5 subunits. There are 2 alpha subunit, there are 2 beta subunit, and 1 gamma subunit. It has a not on it has a various substance which were bind with the different site, and they are able to stimulate the GABA A receptor. There are a site like GABA binding site. Here you can see that the GABA binding site located between alpha, this is alpha and beta, this is alpha and beta, in between GABA binding site is there, through which GABA released GABA bind, which triggers the chloride channel opening and produce a hyperpolarization. Secondary modulatory site, where there are various binding sites were available. One of them is benzodiazepine binding site. It is in between alpha and gamma subunit. This facilitate when the benzodiazepine is administered, it bind with its own receptor, benzodiazepine receptor. Binding of benzodiazepine can increase binding of GABA to its own receptor, GABA receptor, and ultimately it can leads to opening of chloride channel, and there is a hyperpolarization. So indirectly benzodiazepine can produce a hyperpolarization. And additionally, there are other site, that is benzodiazepine antagonistic site, where flumazenil, which is an antagonist drug for a benzodiazepine, which bind and inhibit the effect of GABA. And there is an inverse agonist site, which beta carbolene like drug, which bind with this uh, site and produce opposite effect than the agonist drug. If we can say that the benzodiazepine or the GABA is an agonist substance, inverse agonist can produce a opposite action. And there are other modulatory site. These are the site which are present at in between alpha and gamma subunit. These are known as an barbiturate binding site, where barbiturate binding of barbiturate may generate increase GABA binding towards GABA receptor. There is opening of chloride channel, and that leads to hyperpolarization. The functions of GABA receptor. GABA receptor, there are 2 alpha subunit. One alpha unit mediates sedation, amnesia, and possibly anti-seizure effect of benzodiazepine, while another alpha unit, which is involved in their anti-anxiety and muscle relaxant property. When this is about the benzodiazepine, when we are saying that the barbiturate in therapeutic doses, when the barbiturate were administered, act on this channel and potentiate the GABA mediated inhibitory effect. What they can do, they can increase the duration, not the frequency, but they can increase the duration of chloride channel opening. But if barbiturate, when they are administered at a higher concentration, where barbiturate directly increase the chloride ion conduction, and that produce GABA mimetic action. It can mimic the action as like as a GABA in absence of GABA. So here you can differentiate the action of benzodiazepine and GABA, that benzodiazepine just produce the action through GABA, while if barbiturate when administered at higher doses, it can mimic the action as like as a GABA. Another type of receptor, GABA B receptor. These receptors are known as a metabotropic receptor. These receptors are not modulated by benzodiazepine or barbiturate. It is present at lower level in the CNS, and it is mainly uh, known as a G protein coupled receptor, and which produce a hyperpolarization through inhibition of calcium channel opening or by activation of potassium channel. So by this action it produces hyperpolarization, while GABA A hyperpolarization is through chloride channel opening. Peripherally acting skeletal muscle relaxant like baclofen, which is bind through GABA B receptor, and it is helpful to treat a various spastic disorder. Then glycine, which is also an inhibitory neurotransmitter. Glycine receptors are also similar as a GABA A receptor, which are linked through a chloride ion channel and produce an inhibitory effect. But when we can say that glycine is an inhibitory neurotransmitter, interestingly, the activation of NMDA receptor, NMDA receptors, these are the receptor for excitatory neurotransmitter glutamate. So activation of NMDA receptor require a low concentration of glycine along with the glutamate. So binding site for both glutamate and glycine are different. Here you can see that binding site for both glutamate, this is a glutamate binding site, this is a glycine binding site, are different, but both substance glycine, both the site must be occupied with their specific substance. Then and then there is an opening of channel, and uh, then there is an increased calcium concentration, and that produces an excitatory response. This is surprising because glycine is primarily recognized as an inhibitory neurotransmitter, while at NMDA receptor it acts as a coagonist to a glutamate, and it facilitates the excitation. So glutamate, which is an excitatory neurotransmitter, being a excitatory neurotransmitter, it is widely concentrated in a cortex, basal ganglia, and other sensory pathway. It also plays an important role in a metabolism in a neural tissue. Like it is helpful to uh, act as a building block in a synthesis of peptides and protein. It is also there as a precursor for a synthesis of inhibitory neurotransmitter GABA. So not only a excitatory neurotransmitter, it also associated with other functions. There are total 5 different types of glutamate receptors where there. Out of all, NMDA receptors involved in a wide range of neurophysiological processes and pathophysiological processes. The functions which are associated, like memory acquisition, development of synaptic plasticity, epilepsy, and neuronal excitotoxicity due to cerebral ischemia. So this is all about the different neurotransmitter and their brief outline about their role in a CNS disorder. When we can say that the causes of CNS disorders may be due to alteration in a concentration of neurotransmitter. There may be a reduced concentration or reduced activity, or there is an increased concentration of neurotransmitter, or there is an increased activity of neurotransmitter. Uh, you can see that the example, when there is a reduced concentration of noradrenaline or 5-HT in the limbic system, which mainly causes depression. While in the same system, if there is an increased dopamine in the limbic system, which may causes schizophrenia. So there are either there is a deficiency of neurotransmitter, or there is a reduced activity, increase neurotransmitter concentration, or increase activity. By whatever the way, if any CNS disorders were developed, to treat those CNS disorder, various drugs are used. So the main targets of drugs can either modify the synthesis, storage, release, or metabolism of inhibitory or excitatory neurotransmitter. They can act by modifying ionic movement across the cell membrane, or they can act as agonist or antagonist to a specific receptor, or they can act as a neuromodulator, or they can modify the energy supply of CNS. So these are the various drug target or through which they are helpful for a treatment of various CNS disorder. In detail, we discussed with the individual disorder or individual topic. In short, we can say that in summary, brain can function through a chemical neurotransmitter. It may be a excitatory neurotransmitter like glutamate, or it can be through inhibitory neurotransmitter like GABA or glycine. There are other neurotransmitters like acetylcholine, norepinephrine, dopamine, 5-HT, etc. They may act as an inhibitory or an excitatory or both. That is depends on the area of brain where the deficiency or increased activity is there. And alteration in a neurotransmitter concentration may produce various CNS disorder. This is all. Thank you.